everybody, and welcome back to the Witch's Zodiac for our autumn equinox special. And as always, I am joined by the wonderful astrologer Zoe Hind. Hello.
Hi. Hi.
How are we doing?
Good. Very good.
We're feeling autumnal?
No,
Not really.
not yet.
We're trying to bring it in. We obviously filmed this before the autumn equinox,
Yes,
and we're trying to
just a
put the
bit.
vibe of the autumn equinox. So we've been through the year. If you've not watched a video so far, we've been through Astara, Spring Equinox, Beltane, Midsummer, Lunar Sad, and now we're at the autumn equinox. Explain, please. Sorry.
Well, the autumn equinox falls on the zodiac because what we're looking at is how the zodiac corresponds to the wheel of the year, and we're dealing with the exact cusp point from Virgo to Libra. So with Virgo we have the fruit and nut harvest, so that's what the celebration's all about. It's all about abundance. We've got some apples and some berries and things here we'll be talking about in a bit, and Virgo is very much that Gaia earth goddess. Virgo's another sign that gets terribly written about. They are OCD compulsive,
List
that should work in HR, and that's about all you get, which is just wrong. Again, very wrong. So we're looking at
We're
the
myth busting,
harvest.
really, aren't we? Because like with the Taurus, I think we went to town with Explain the Gorgeous as a Taurus, and with this one we should kind of,
Yep.
big love for Virgos.
Yeah, so the Virgo sign is the M, which is the Mary, Isis, and then it's got a fish on the side, so that's the mother and the Jesus symbolism from the Bible as well. But basically we're dealing with an earth sign, so of course we're dealing with earth. So you've got the harvest, and the precision of the Virgo comes from the fact that they had to gather the harvest in a short window of time, all work together as a team, so you get teamwork and precision and efficiency, that kind of thing, and then allocate it. So many Virgos will be good at allocating, and then make some into food, some into herbal remedies, medicine, and some for storage. So you had to have that vision. And also you had to know when to sow and when to reap. So you got the mother gestation period, 9 months, so what we sow when and what we reap when. So Virgos have that knowledge of the cycles of time, environmentalism, gestation period, and then the efficiency to get the best out of the crops. So that's what Virgo is really about.
That's brilliant. I love that. And I think very creative they can be as well. I remember living with a Virgo, and they're amazing at being tidy, getting all their work done, but partying harder than anybody else because they'd got all their work done. I mean, he was flapping around going, oh, I can't go out, I've not done all of this. And they, as you say, they knew the time they had to do their work in, did it, and therefore could really enjoy the fruits of their labour and really enjoy. So it's all, I think, it does really help to be tuning into that Virgo energy, doesn't
Invoke your inner Virgo, because everybody has Virgo in there somewhere, and because it's ruled by Mercury, it is that super multitasking, a time for everything, a place for everything, so that's where they get that aspect.
I love that back to school feeling as well. Not when I was a kid maybe, but you know, you like when you're a kid, you got your new uniform and you got your
felt
books,
tips, felt tip pens.
You got felt tip pens
Best bit ever,
and a new tin to put them in. And I just love that. That was just exciting. And even as an adult, not that I buy myself felt tip pens and tins quite enough. I think I should invest in some more stationery. But I love that time of year where you think I need to study, I need to learn something, and I want to put my energy to some use at that time and to expand my knowledge.
I would say it's about the only part of our calendar that's actually still correct. Back to school in September. That's a really good time to start your year when it comes to that gestation period. So I don't really follow the Gregorian calendar, but that's the one bit that I feel quite strongly does still work.
So you got the equinox again. We did with it. The vernal equinox, equal day and equal night. So it's quite a powerful time of inner balance as well as we go towards Virgo, isn't it?
Yep, so we're going from Virgo to Libra, and the Druids...
Libra, sorry, that's not Virgo.
That's okay. The Druids call this Alban Elfed, and that's light of the water.
Nice.
So for everybody that works with your, what I like to call Celtic Feng Shui, with the north as earth and the east, sun rising in the east as air, and then going to the south as the heat of fire, and then round to the west as water, we're actually dealing with the west for the spring, for the autumn equinox. So that's really lovely reference to water there as well, and elves. But what's lovely is the Libra symbol you'll know as a line with a hump on it, and that's the sun setting down on the horizon. It's not like it was an inanimate object like scales. No. I love that much more, because I think Libras get a rough deal with that. Like, you have an animate object as your sign. Oh, thanks. No. And having the sun setting down beneath the waves. It's beautiful. That's why it's called fall, as the sun falls into the winter. Equinox is equal night, as we know from the spring equinox. So the spring equinox was like sunrise. The summer solstice was like lunchtime. The autumn equinox is therefore sunset. So you've got tea time, and then we have midnight snack yet to come. So Librans are all about balance, harmony, grace. They are Venus run as well as Taurus. So we've already discussed about how the Earth and Venus make a perfect symmetry. They move around in a harmony that's just geometrically perfect, musically perfect. So Libra expresses Venus through an air sign, and what you'll find is that they love singing, poetry, dance, fashion, and often playing the flute for some reason.
Oh, awesome. I used to play the flute when I was a kid. I think I love Libras because they have got that kind of, with the air sign, it rises above a little bit, doesn't it? They can be very discerning and classy taste. And I think that's, I think also at that time of year, we've got the balance. Like you had at the spring equinox, you had the inner balance, but the light was kind of winning, as it were. And now you've got the equinox and the dark is winning, and you kind of go inwards a little bit more. So you kind of find that balance point within yourself, the light and the dark within yourself. So the light with the external summer energy coming towards the winter energy, and the winter starts to win, and you go almost with the relief, I think, after summer you start to go inwards into your own world, into your own projects, your own subconscious. So it's kind of a magical time for the personal journey, isn't it?
Very much so. I think the little humpback bridge symbol even reminds me of the inner ear chamber, where we go through and then balance, and we go into our subconscious. So it's even got that balancing aspect there, and Librans are all about that balance. So it is a beautiful time of year, very quickly overlooked because people race towards not looking forward to winter, don't they? So they kind of forget to actually mark the seasons as they come.
Yeah, I think it's a really important one, and what we really want to enjoy in the harvest and the lovely fruits and the nuts. And often, like recently, the last few years, we've had really warm September, so it's been really lovely to kind of enjoy the shortening evenings, but for nice walks and to enjoy the fruits and the nuts and the harvest of the land.
And as we know, it's all about knowing there's a time for everything.
Yeah.
So it's about honouring that process when we combine the zodiac to the wheel of the year.
Absolutely.
So. And also there's things to do at night.
Yes.
I quite like it.
I do, because I love being, obviously, I love being out in the summer. It can be, but you can get very, you can feel a bit stretched too thin by the end of summer, because you've been so social and been out running out all the time, and you really are cherishing, I can't wait to get back to my hobbies, or a little bit of quiet time in the evening to get on with things.
Yep. And the autumn fashions for the Librans, all the knitwear and the boots and everything. It's quite nice to get those back on. But as the nights draw in, I think for me, anything like dance lessons for Libra is all good. Start up a new dance class, or really bring out your inner herbalist. So I've got some rose hips, homemade rose hip oil, very, very easy. Don't pick from public parks, but if you've got your own trees, this is my chosen oil for Virgo, because it's just, it's those roses, it's coming out at this time. It's just such a productive. So you can either get some oil, a base oil like sunflower, and steep your own. And I always do mine for a year and a day as well. So it's that cycles of time thing coming in. Don't know if you can see that, but it makes a thick red liquid full of vitamin C that you can use for all sorts of products. Or you can just kind of harvest any dried stuff. So this is a jar full of some lavender there that's been harvested over the summer. And then just use that in little pillows or sachets. And of course we've got the beautiful essential oils as well. So Virgo was the herbalist, is the herbalist. Let's take all those fruits, let's take the abundance, and actually start to get towards making our own winter foods. So that's where the Christmas pudding comes from.
Yes.
They got all the fruits and then they preserved it, so when they had very little food left, they could have this pudding and set it on fire, and roll it down a hill. Not really. But you get my drift.
I get the drift, absolutely. So I'm loving it, and I'm getting all cosy in for autumn in my mind already. And it's interesting, well, I find it interesting, you might not mind, that I really started really getting deep into my pagan path around the autumn equinox. And with the myths of the autumn equinox, of Persephone and other goddesses' descent into the underworld at that time of year, I find it nice that I kind of started my journey a little bit more at that time, when I went from the Nord into looking into a little bit deeper into the mysteries. So I think most of us do know the Persephone myth, but there's lots of myths that are similar. There's Ishtar and Inanna and Sumerian goddesses. There's very similar myths of the goddess. Well, the Ishtar and Inanna, that's a little bit more the woman deciding to go to the underworld because she got a little bit annoyed, a little bit nosy, and wanted to go down and see what was going on. But unfortunately, the Greek one's a bit more like she was kidnapped. I would just say probably not in the original. But there's always an element of resistance, because you've got the Maiden of Persephone being kidnapped by Hades, the lord of the underworld, the lord of the winter and the dead, and she's been taken down to the underworld against her will. And in that element, it's that that feeling of you don't want to give up summer. You know, that kind of feeling of I don't want to go into winter, I want the life, and it's that resistance to the winter. And in a lot of the myths, in the Inanna and Ishtar myths, like the goddess argues with the Lord of Death, going, "Why do you kill?" You know, and he says, "I don't kill. There's sickness kills, time kills. I clear the way." And the meeting of life and death and the understanding of each other means that the two work together stronger. So that's why I really like it. It's kind of missed over that she's kidnapped down and she doesn't want to be there, but then she eats a few of those pomegranate seeds. I think she eats more in this part of the world because we get a longer winter. I think she ate a few less in Greece. She ate a few more here, so we had 6 months of winter for a month for every pomegranate seed, because Demeter, her mother, made the land barren every time she goes to the underworld, because she mourns so much. Demeter's an earth goddess. And I think in my nice romantic mind, they kind of fell in love. And it's all very romantic, in a bit of a gothic way. If you'd fallen with the Lord of the Death, it's going to be. And then when she comes out of the underworld at the spring equinox, I always feel that kind of resistance of coming back to, you leave all this quiet time to come out into the. So I think into the living world. So I think it really shows well the shift between life, busy, into the dark. I don't want to, and then you get into it and you get immersed in the dark and the subconscious and the other world, and almost like a shock to come into the spring.
Not wanting to get up in the morning.
Not wanting to get up in the morning. So I think there's so many myths of the goddess meeting the dread Lord of Shadows and going, "What are you doing?" And then he shows her what he's doing. She, through this journey to the underworld, she understands his situation and falls in love maybe, but also understanding, I think, a mutual working together, that life and death has to work together for the strength.
Exactly, and that's very much what the Wheel of the Year and the Zodiac is all about. It's all about every aspect of our condition and how we bring the polarities together. So it's really, it helps keep you real, doesn't it? If you realise that it's not a one-season world, it's not all about Prozac and let's pretend everything's fine, but it's going in and doing that shadow work, which is what the autumn equinox is all about.
Absolutely. The first of the journey, the descent of your own journey, the inner spiral of the winter months, which is so enriching, and it makes you real and it makes you prepared for everything that's going on, rather than pretending it's fine, let's go and sit in the sun for a while. So I really love those myths, and I think you kind of being stripped, the goddess being stripped of all her jewellery and all this kind of, all her graces, to deal straight on with death, which is what the winter is. It's the retreat of life, which will be brought back again in the springtime.
Exactly.
But more about that in the next video. Anyway, back from my gothic romance. Runes!
Yes, we have a lovely friend called Katie Gerard.
Buy her books.
All of her links will be there. This is such a great book.
The cover's very good as well.
The cover's by some really famous artist that slips my mind. Beautiful book. It's nice to have a female writing about something that's been very masculinized. I'm sure I was saying earlier that the women used the runes for childbirth and for productivity and everything when they were in full functional use, but since it's become quite a crusty and dry subject. This is the Rune of Gifu, which is the Anglo-Saxon pronunciation, which Katie says is the better one, because they're used for toning. So you can use a rune and you can either leave it out on your altar space, or you can actually tone the word for whatever it is that you want. And I quite like this because it's the autumn equinox, it's the equal cross, but this is a rune that says make sure that you do your part of any bargain, make sure that you pay your way, make sure that you get value back for what you're doing. And it's about equality and exchange, and I think that's really nice correspondence that we have with the autumn equinox there. So it's about that inner value, making sure that you're not underselling yourselves, or making sure that you're standing up for your side of what you've promised, so that everything's equal. And it shows a lot about our cultures back in those days as well. They really did honour, if you stayed at someone's house, you told them stories, you entertained them, that kind of thing. And nobody was just out for making as much as they could. So I think that's
much better.
Very nice.
And if you read her other book with also an equally great cover called See, it's about the women, the wise women in Scandinavian times that would be doing the healing and the runes. And they would be mainly women, and Freya and the goddesses of this were, again, they were goddesses. So it was a very feminine thing. And I'm definitely guys did it too, but the main thing was the Seath, the wise woman that was doing this, would go from town to town, spreading her magic and her divination. So,
and I do think this dusk time, this twilight, which is the autumn equinox, is so evocative for getting back in touch with those divination skills, that kind of twilight tarot and the runes, and as we go on that journey into the subconscious to really start to pick up those skills again, especially for Samhain and into the midwinter as well. It's just a very divinatory time. So
I was in Ireland a couple of years ago, and there's a couple of the barrow mounds and the tombs that line up to the autumn equinox as well. So there's not many that you find but there was some of the barrow mounds, the tombs that line up directly to the autumn equinox sunrise. And I think that's just lovely as well, that to our ancestors, it's a great time to connect to our ancestors. That was a very, very special and powerful time as well.
And I wanted to ask you about the wild hunt as well.
Oh yes, I thought
that's a lovely addition, isn't it?
Oh, I love that. And I think this is kind of something that you can start to work with going on from now, going towards Samhain. It's bridging and also towards some stores around midwinter as well. But between the autumn equinox going towards Samhain, you'll see the wild hunt. You won't see, maybe you will see them.
Yeah,
you might do. There's tales of seeing them. The wild hunt is like a spectral phantasm. I like using that word. Phantasm. Spectral phantasm of spirits going across the sky in the manner of a hunt. Usually you see it's either led by Woden or by Gwynap Neath or fairies, often all of these characters and animals all together in a quite not aggressive but a feisty manner, going across the sky hunting. And the idea is hunting the spirits of the dead. What were they hunting? We don't know. Maybe we'll find out next video. But the idea of seeing this phantom was meant to be quite an omen for your own life and for your own demise, but also seeing of that kind of wild energy. And because it's a time of the Lord of Shadows and the masculine energy of the god kind of going across the sky, it's a very, very powerful time where you start, I think after the autumn equinox, is that time when you start to use your second sight a bit more, using your vision and sensing that the world's going to a bit more darker magical times. Ooh. Getting themed up for the next video, I think now. Getting ready for the next one. Anything else you want to
That's about it, really. Just have a go at herbalism. It's a really very rewarding way to really connect with your abundance of the Virgo, and try and see if you can go for that long haul to make things for the following year, and get in touch maybe with the seasonal fruits and veg.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that's always a good thing to do. So if we go back to what would be growing at that time and see if you can come up with some of those recipes, and maybe tone a few runes. And just that recalibration, really. It's that inward journey, so there's less outward doing and more time spent in consideration.
Yeah, absolutely. So a nice time, time. Thank you very much for watching. We're going to be back soon with our next video about Samhain. Until then, thank you once again for watching our videos. As we've mentioned, there's plenty more you can look at. We've got loads more Witches Zodiac videos, so do follow the links to the other videos we've done. Feel free to subscribe to Zoe's channel, which is
Zoe Astro, which is ZOEASTRO.
And your website, which is
AstroZo, which is ASTROZO.
Brilliant.com. And my channel, which is this one, do subscribe as well, please. Thank you if you enjoyed it. Anyway, you didn't. That'd be a bit weird. And then like and share with your friends, Twitter, Facebook, all that jazz, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.